Welcome, friends, it is I, your old Scarf, and there he is, our newest god, Geb. Son of Ra, lover of Newt, father of Isis, and Chia pet aficionado. So there he is, Geb. He looks pretty cool right there. He's a little Simple Simon looking, but I think I like it about him. He's a very big, dumb, lovable rock giant guy, and that's what I like about him. And you'll see when you play the game just why I say all those things about him. Now we're going to do, of course, talk about general patch stuff, and then item changes and god changes and stuff like that. And then we'll look at Geb, and then we'll get into a match with him. And, of course, we'll check out the Night Arena in the future as well. So let's get going. Alright, there's Geb again. Now we get to look at him some more. And just look at him. He looks pretty cool there. He's got these shoulder obelisk things going on. He's got an oasis in the background. That is such a cool look right there. And he just looks like he looks kind of mean right there, but he's actually a very sweet-seeming guy when you actually hear his voice back and everything. Then over here, we got the redefined Eddies. What they did is they updated his graphics so everything just stands out better. He's also shinier. It's like this thing somehow lights him up more. And also those things. And he's just more contrast and showy. Let's go over here and take a better look at everything. So here's Geb. He's got all these obelisks on these parts on him. He's got an oasis right there. It's a really nice touch there having that oasis on him in the back. And here's what you get to see. Not much, but it is what it is. It's always not much when you see the back of people. And yeah, it still looks cool though. Then we got the Volcano one. Well, Molten Fury, there you go. And it is a really nice reskin. I really like this one. This looks pretty good. He's also got lava right there instead of water, so that's cool. Let's check out his voice pack.
I'll attack.
This is what I like about him.
Be careful, right in the middle.
He talks so slow and he's got this throaty echo going on.
Defend. Good luck.
It is very different. It is very unique.
Enemies have returned.
I like it for that.
Set up an ambush.
But it's got to be annoying for VGS, for people trying to coordinate, because he's like, what is he saying? He hasn't said it fast enough.
Be careful. Left.
Yeah, he's like, be careful. What lane? What lane? What lane? What lane?
I'm returning to base.
I like it, though. I like it. It's different, but holy crap with that. Now, there are some gold skins. So over here, we got Amazon Cobb. Check out the gold skin on him. There it is. Blue and gold. Very nice contrast to him. It just looks nice there. I believe his big stinger is still yellow, so no change on that color. And then for the dark one, look at this. Black and yellow, people. There it is. Gold and black, looking pretty good. Nice there. Now check out Ares over here. Look at the contrast on him. There it is. So here you go. So he's shinier. His stuff is more defined. Everything stands out more. So it's a really nice update to his graphics there. Nicely done with that. Same thing goes for Destroyer. It just looks good. It looks very nice. His stuff stands out a little bit better because everything's just the same damn color. You can tell what it is a little bit better now than you could before. Like, this is pretty well defined because there's a little more contrast in color. Well, this one, not so much, but now that they got the texture better, you can tell what the hell these look like a little bit more. And then the other gold skin, it's Hell, people. We're going to see a lot of Hell players because of this, because Hell looks great in gold. And here we got light one with the lighter blue. Looks very nice there. Very good colors. It just goes on her very well. And it just contrasts beautifully. It really does. Good shininess. Just looks great. And then the dark one, look at that. This is an amazing looking skin. Just contrasts so well. Everything, all the textures look good. And the light and the dark colors just work out so well as well. And then we got the other one. Look at that. White Hell has white instead of dark. And then dark one has the dark instead of white. I'm not really sure what you call this. I don't really think this is diamond because diamond's more clear. I don't know, maybe it's opal or some other kind of white. Maybe someone said pearl. While the other one is still obsidian. So I believe this is the only guy with white. And that's just pretty cool there. Let's see the dark one eventually when it comes up. And it just looks nice. And there's the dark one there. And this is just an amazing looking skin. This is definitely a skin worth getting the legendary for. And I'll probably try to do that eventually. I'm not very good with Hell, but this just looks great. Now some general changes going on. The big one, though, is the arena update. So now there is the Dark Arena, or the Night Arena. I believe it's called the Night Arena. Why do you call it Dark? And it just looks amazing. It really does. And it changes up the game a little bit in that after you get 10 kills, the Manticore spawns for your team. That's right, the Manticore is back, people. And if you didn't know who he was the god you fought instead of Ra when you did Joust for practice. That's who he was. And they got rid of him for Ra, and I'm glad he's back. Everyone's glad he's back. And what happens is he comes out and you escort him to the other side and the other team loses 10 tickets if he survives. He's pretty beefy from what I've seen. Is he beefy enough, not beefy enough? I don't know, and we'll see when we get into the match for that. But the Night Arena just looks amazing. I can't wait to play it. And it's random whether you get into it or not in normal queue. It's not in League. League is only the normal one, the day one. But normal queue, you will either get the day or the night randomly. And I really can't wait to see that. Other changes, they added subtitles. They have camp names over the camps now. They added Assault AI, so you can now fight solo or co-op against Assault bots. They're still working on those bots. A lot of visual changes, a lot of bug fixes. Like, now you can look at your builds now. And the big one is 20 seconds have been added to the mid Furies. What this does is, it really breaks up mid-focus a little bit. A lot of people were complaining that the meta was getting stale because everyone would focus the mids a lot. I didn't think so, because the mids could be used as a trap. You could catch people at the mids and kill them. You could also just let people take the mids while you took their entire jungle as a counter jungler, and they wouldn't be able to recover because they didn't have anything else. They just had the mid camps. So there were things you could do to break up the meta, but not enough people did it, I guess. So now they've changed the meta by making it 20 seconds longer. This also makes it easier to keep track of the mids. You just go, okay, those are down, 2 minutes later they'll be up, because 100 seconds is harder to count than it is 2 minutes. And that's really what does, just breaks things up a little bit. You'll see a little less focus in the mid. It gives the mid gods a little more breathing room by 20 seconds, and it'll add up eventually for the time being until people really know how to focus at 20 seconds. Like, they'll readjust to the timers for that, and we might still see a lot of focus in the mid. It'll just be less by 20 seconds, and it could add up. And the other big one I will go over in God changes, and that's what they did to Artemis' Trap and Arachne's Broodlings. I'll go over that in God changes. Up next is items. Alright, here's the big change they made to items. And that is to combine shoes, boots, tabi, and greaves. They're all now one magical or one physical equivalent of tree here. And so here's the magical one. You'll notice it's 300 gold for the first one, but it's only plus 6 movement speed. Same thing for physical. And that is terrible. That is really a bad boot. I don't know who's going to want to get it, maybe. If you think you got good stats and you just need speed, there you go, I guess. But yeesh. Level 2s are cheaper as well, and they're weaker. You can see there's less magical and mana. And same with health on these two shoes right here. And that, again, I'm not sure how I feel about that. I really don't. But the level 3s are the same. You'll notice, though, that celerity boots and plated greaves are gone. Those are gone completely. If you use those are gone. You can't use them anymore. But Midas boots and reinforced greaves have stayed, and these two stayed. Same thing goes for the physical side of things, where same tree pretty much. The only difference, of course, is what these guys are and the stats they give for physical and magical. Now, what worries me about this, though, is Hi-Rez said they're considering combining more items, and that worries the crap out of me, because what that does is it limits what you can buy as far as things go, and we already have such a limited amount of items to choose from already, so I really hope he was just joking with that, but he sounded pretty serious, so I'm a little scared of that. If they combine too many items, we're just going to have even more limited builds, smaller builds, and more restriction instead of more fluidity to what we can do, so I'm worried about that. Let's get going to gods now. So, up first is Arachne. Now, her eggs, they sort of got nerfed in a way, but also not, in that her eggs no longer give vision, but her spiderlings do. Now, if there's a difference in range of when they hatch and when they see, then I guess it's a nerf in a way, but since the spiderlings can still see, she doesn't really lose too much there. But what concerns me is people saying she needs more nerfs, and I disagree. Not just because I like her so much, but because of what she is. Arachne is a very extreme god. At level 1, she's the strongest god in the game. No one can beat her. At level 20, she's the weakest god in the game. Everyone can beat her. That is the nature of Arachne. She's a very extreme god. She's an early god. She is the earliest god. She gets fed at the start, she wins the rest of the match, or she just becomes equivalent with everyone else while being ahead, and maybe she wins or loses the match. That's Arachne. But if everyone's level 20, if the late game goes long enough, Arachne becomes worthless. She becomes a 4v5 fight because she's not that great. That's how she is. So I really am not really annoyed, but I don't understand why people think she needs more nerfs, because she doesn't. All Arachne's got is the early. Because that early, she's got pub stomp. You want to beat Arachne? I'll tell you how. You ward, and you don't engage Arachne until later on in the fight. If you don't engage Arachne, and if you ward so she never gets a shot on you, she gets worthless very quickly. That is how you beat Arachne. When I fight Arachne, I take her the hell out. What makes Arachne better, though, is if she gets team communication. If she has teammates working with her, which is, of course, isn't pub stomping, if she's got an actual team with her that knows what they're doing, they help her out, she can get strong and she can actually have a mid game and maybe a late game. But in the pub, where everyone's getting wrecked by her, don't engage her. Ward up, stay defensive when she's nearby, be aggressive when she's not, and she will be worthless against you. That is how you beat Arachne. It's very easy, very simple. and I have a hard time losing against Arachne because I just understand that. She's not a problem. Now, someone who did get nerfed is Artemis. Transgressor's Fate also lost its vision, and they didn't give her any buffs over it. Ares says they'll give her maybe less mana on the cost so that to make up for that, but really, Artemis is getting nerfed enough as it is. She doesn't need any more nerfs. The fact they nerfed her because of her just low-level playability is just not a good reason for it. And the reason why they did these vision nerfs is how warding is. They want to make it so warding is smarter and more strategic. So they've taken vision away from a lot of abilities so that it's only on the wards. And of course the eye. Now, what this is because you can only have 3 of the regular ones and 1 of the vision ones, like the ones that can see other wards. I don't know how eye affects that, but the idea is just so you're smarter with your warding. That's really what it was. So they want to just give you less vision. But I still think she should have vision if someone steps on the trap. I think that would have been appropriate, that would have been fine, but they didn't do that, so Artemis is significantly nerfed on that one because vision was very important for her, and that really sucks for her a lot. Another change, a sort of buff, is Shock on his 1 when he throws his axe at you. It used to trail after you and eventually hit you, now it hits you instantaneously. The reason why it's a bit of a buff is the instantaneous hit, well, it hits you. The old way, where it chased you, you could get away from it for a while before it eventually hits you, and you can get healed in case you were in a mortal blow situation. You could get healed and it wouldn't kill you. So it's appropriate that they made it so it's instantaneous, so that doesn't happen anymore, because it should have just killed you. So it's a bit of a buff, but it's more of a fix, I guess. Nuwa has gotten post-cast reduction on her Clay Soldiers and on her Flame Strike. From 0.5s to 0s on this, which is fine to me because those Clay Soldiers don't really mean much. The Flame Strike, though, going from 0.9 seconds to 0.5 seconds means she can get 1 or 2 strikes on you or an ability cast pretty quick after using this, which is good for her. This will allow her to combo other abilities with it very quickly, and I think it'll help her out. Thor also got progression again, not progression, reduction, where it's 0.2 on everything to 0.1 on everything, on these 3, on the Mulgineers, Tectonic Rift, and Berserker's Barrage. Since it was already brought down so quickly already last patch, this isn't that big a change. It's just to tighten it up a little bit. And that's really what this patch is. They're doing some cleanups here. That's usually how it is for god changes. When they bring in a new god, they will have minor cleanup changes. And the off weeks are the ones that have the major rebalancing. So we'll probably see a lot of god changes next week. And whether those will be good or not, we will see when I get to it. Now let's go check out Geb. Geb. Here we go. So we got Geb here. Look at his portrait really quick here. And then we will look at his power. Alright, come on. Show me Geb. Show me the Geb. There it is. There's his portrait there. He's got all these waterfalls coming out of him.
Many of these gods were my friends. We shall treat them with honor.
And that is why you gotta love Geb right there. The other one he says is we will take them down peacefully or something like that, and that's just great. Geb's very lovable for that. He's just such a friendly, nice giant. And that's pretty great there. So here we go, let's get one of these. So Geb's ability. So his passive is... Geb's passive is hard as rock. And basically what it is he only takes 25% of crit damage instead of the full 100%. What this means is physicals are going to have a hard time with him if they're building crit. If you want to handle Geb, you got to do pure damage and pen. If you go for crit, he will just be a big terror against you. You won't be able to handle him. His next ability is rollout. And look at this. This is longer than the Bird of Note from what I can tell. Look at this. Look how long this rollout is. Look at that. Woo! That takes a while. And this is a great escape and good initiate. And I'll show you why it's a good initiate, because you can do damage with that. If you hit someone before the big size, he only does 50% of his damage. Look at his damage numbers there. 125, 200, 275, 350, and 425. Everyone, he can only hit one god. He can hit minions, though, once as well. He runs right through them. You can try to do double hits on minions. It won't work. They only count for one. Now, what happens is you hit a god with it, and you will slow them, but you also knock them back depending on how big it is. And let me show you what I mean. Check this out. Look at this. Full size, and go flying! Bam! Look how far I sent that guy. That is just hilarious and awesome right there. You just send him flying. It's great. And, of course, it slowed him as well. Now, his 2... Oh, no. One more thing. When he gets big, you're also CC immune. Because you have this long charge-up time, it'd be really annoying to not be able to use it, so they gave him CC immunity for that last part of it. So it's a great escape and initiate. Now his 2 is a knock-up and damage, and if you're close to him, it does full damage. If you're further away, it does 50% damage. His 3 is a cleanse when casted, and it also makes you, I believe, immune to knockback effects when it's on you, and it's an HP shield, dependent on how much HP you got. 20% of Geb's HP, max HP, plus however much. It's from 0 to 400, and the durations also levels up on the scale as well. Then there is Gabe's ultimate. And his ultimate, it scales up as you level up for how long the stun is, and also percentage of HP. It goes 30% up to 50% of HP, and look how fast this ult casts. It's pretty much almost instantaneous at cast, and what it does is it stuns you for up to 1.8 seconds and takes away 50% of your current HP. So just picture that, having all your HP, getting hit with that. And it's magical damage, not true damage, so there is mitigation on it, so that's good at least. But just think about that. Think about you just being really full of HP. Think of being a tank and losing half your HP. Some of it get mitigated, of course, but you still lose a ton of HP. And you're stunned for almost 2 seconds. So you can get wailed on by a lot of people during those 2 seconds. Picture this ultimate in combination with Ares' ult, in combination with Ymir's ult, if you can set them up for it. Thanatos' ult, you'll weaken a lot of people. Thanatos will catch somebody with it. You can't kill because it's percentage based, but you can do a lot of damage with it. So Geb is ridiculous. He's pretty good, and from listening to everyone and watching everybody, Geb is currently very, very strong. Everyone's screaming OP. He probably is. I haven't seen for myself yet. We'll see soon enough, but that is everything. Basically, if you're a physical god, don't fight Geb unless you have full power and penetration. Don't go for crits against him. Magicals, though, don't have any downsides unless he builds against Magicals. You should have an easier time fighting Geb for sure. But just look what he can do. He can set you up using the 1, just knock you into a wall, hopefully. And after that, he can hit you with this for a knock-up. He can stun you with his ultimate. And then he can do even more if you give him Fist of the Gods or whatever else. So Geb is going to be pretty strong for a while until they nerf him. He needs a nerf for sure. And we'll see what it is. But now let's get on to a match.